I am never going to get this update video out at this rate. Now, I thought originally I'm going to make an update after I've finished everything. So, I plan to make a video and then I never release it. Why? Because there's so much stuff that I need to do. Don't be shocked when I show you what I'm about to show you. I've prematurely spoiled it now. Okay, here we go. These are the new machines. Well, they're not really new, they're repurposed machines. Now, before everyone goes, oh, TTB has been ruined forever, just remember that the reason why I haven't made a 1.0 release is because I'm still doing major changes like this. That's why I've never actually officially released Tempest Box, because there's still so much stuff I need to improve on and do. These changes are huge changes, but they're for the best. And don't you admit that the quarry kind of looks cool? Yeah, this is the new quarry. So I'm going to try my best to explain all the changes, one machine at a time, because trust me, this is worth it. We're going to start with the block breaker, because since last update, this has undergone the least amount of change. So you place it down, and it's not working. Why? Well, we need to power it. So this is a Tempite storage tank. This is going to power any machine within 20 blocks of it. Okay, now it should be powered, right? No, we have to give it some amethyst and other various sources of power, which I'm yet to decide on. So the reason why I haven't released this video yet is because there are still bugs. But yeah, so you can see that they're connected because the block breaker is sucking out power from the Tempite, which you can see from this lovely animation that I actually spent 4 hours on. Yeah, so there we go. Sucking out Tempite at a very alarming rate, so there will be alternative sources of power besides, just amethyst like that. And as you can see, the block breaker is working. Not really much to say about that, since it hasn't really changed much. It does break hoppers now, but that's a bug, which I need to fix ASAP. So when I destroy this, you can see that the block breaker ceases to work. And there is one more change that I neglected to mention. So you don't want power to be sucking up all the time, right? Come on, you can do it. So if you don't want it to activate, just place a block of quartz on top. Now I have to power the machine again, and we're out of amethyst. We're still early in development. Cut me some slack, guys. Let's put some amethyst in here. And you can see that there's 1000 Tempite, but it's not being consumed by the block breaker. However, when I remove the quartz, you can see that it will start actually getting consumed, and the block breaker will work as you'd expect. And as soon as I put this on top, block breaker breaks, but it stops consuming power. You can actually just attach a sticky piston onto the end here, and then you can actually what words? You can words. Come on, spit it out. What am I trying to say? You can just activate it. So this is inactive. This is active. Inactive. Active. I hope my wordification doesn't bother you guys too much, but there you go. Also, I need to try and find a way to keep some power or give some power back to the player when they destroy a tank, because otherwise that's really unfair. It's like destroying a chest and then not getting the contents back. Speaking of which, that's been a huge problem. Well, I'm going to put in 5 stacks of obsidian in here. Now, in previous versions, you'd lose the obsidian if you broke this, but now you get it all back. One downside is, though, if you put hoppers in there, you won't get those back. Soz, guys. Other than the fact that these are now too high and can now be moved with observers and can be disabled with quartz, and they can be powered by amethyst and Tempite, these guys have not really changed too much. Let's give them some power so you can see what they look like in action. As you can see, the Sam Sifter's doing its thing, the Tempite's getting consumed really quickly. I need to make amethysts more valuable, I think, but no animation, that's really cool. I did actually end up removing some of the more useless recipes from the Macerator. Previously, if you put a diamond block in there, you'd get 9 diamonds back, but who cares about that anyway? No one's even going to notice. So yeah, you can see the poison emitter actually uses the exact same area effect cloud that it used to, but it's mobile now, so hooray. It only activates every 30 seconds though. So the machines are made so they all activate at the same interval, so the Sand Sifter and the Macerator activate every 2 seconds, which means that every 2 seconds they will move across the observer chain. That's not the case for the poison emitter, which should be moving now, but isn't for whatever reason. This is why I put off this video, because there are still bugs that we need to fix. Now that I think about it though, I think it's probably a good idea to actually fix the texture for the growth aura. I had a texture in mind, here it is right here, so there's going to be some interpolation there, space, space, space. So this is the top texture, I think, so this north, east, south, and west textures are the ones that need changing. Let's go back into the game and reload the resource packs and see what this looks like. Hopefully I won't be disappointed. I mean... No, I don't like it, I'm sorry. Using the most amateur method possible, I'm just going to increase the size of this thing. So we'll bring this one out by 2 pixels and we'll bring you out by 2 pixels. Totally doesn't look stretched. This is very acceptable. While I'm at it, let's get a pencil, create a new layer here, and I shall do a little drawing. I'll draw you a little picture. Press escape, here we go. Ew, no, this is already too ugly. What if we overlay it? Will that look better? We will find out. Ah, that's much better. Hopefully, if we just make it a little bit darker, then this will turn out okay. Please, please look good, I beg you. Before, after. Give me compliments. I said give me compliments. It's okay, guys. I know this looks terrible. I need your opinions and your compliments. I'll come back to this another time. I just don't think I'm cut out to make a very good growth aura texture, but can you blame me? Gold and green, it's not really going to work out. I mean, it's very difficult to create a block that screams, this grows stuff, and have the crafting recipe be made out of 8 golden apples. Not really a recipe for a good texture, in my opinion. Now, I know that you guys are probably really looking forward to seeing the quarry and the new spirit infuser and all these new other weird blocks that you might have seen. But we're going to come to that later, because I want to show you the new and improved micro tree farm. They now look at the sapling that's below them. Previously they had to use a bunch of scores to see what kind of sapling was inside. The reason why I changed that wasn't because of any game design decision, but mostly because it just reduces the amount of lag, and I think it's cool to have it mobile and be on top of a sapling as well. So I guess there is a small amount of game design reason why I've done it this way. So we'll just place some jungle saplings under all these guys. So all of these ones will farm jungle saplings. The wood will appear in here. Also, thanks to a suggestion by a guy named VulcanVex, I decided to stop the logs from being on a timer. They now use a loot table, so the output is a little bit randomized. So let's just put a storage tank in here and then make it consume some tempite, and then soon we will see the cool effect that the rays have. Okay, so the trees have now activated. Let's see what we got here. We got jungle wood here, jungle wood here, a stick in this case. Sticks are the most common, planks are the second most common, and wouldn't you know it, logs are the most rare. Now, because I'm using a loot table now, I can actually throw some other stuff in here if I really wanted, but I'll need some pretty dang good suggestions in order to be able to consider doing anything like that, because we have the sand sifter for that, right? Right? I gotta admit, I am mildly annoyed at this problem here. I cannot use the slightly translucent green on the micro tree farm. I'm not really a fan of the glass texture anyway, so I'm ought to change it. Has to be 2 whole, because otherwise when you place an observer on it, it will just look like it's floating. So that's why I encased it with glass, because without the glass it kind of just looks like this is floating here, and it just looks a little bit weird. So I don't know what to do with this texture here, and I need your suggestions, because this kind of behavior is not something that's acceptable, and so obviously I need to change it. Like even shulker boxes, in fact, just a small little rant about how things are rendered. We get these beautiful blocks, and then when you go a certain distance away from them, suddenly you can't see them anymore. I'm confused at why this is the case, because other tile entities like command blocks and droppers, they can get rendered from a really long distance, and these are storage containers that are full blocks. So I don't really understand why this is the case for shulker boxes and chests and ender chests, but not things like droppers. Interesting. The metal alchemy and the block transformer have also undergone some pretty significant changes. However, I would say that they're more consistent with the other machines now. The first change, which I'm pretty sure most of you will be really happy about, is that when these machines do their business, they no longer self-destruct like they did in the past. And there we go. That was a worthwhile investment, wasn't it? So now that that's happened, I can just put quartz blocks on top of these and then we're good to go. So I thought they consume power now, they don't really need to destroy themselves anymore. So that was the only change with that. Oh, and the block transformer, I'm sorry guys, but it does not transform ores anymore. But don't worry, that behavior is coming back for the thing that I will mention at the end of this video. Ascended machines. Doesn't that sound exciting? I was going to talk about the quarries, but I thought I'd just hold you guys hostage just for a little bit longer because I forgot to mention there's a new ore in the game and it's called amethyst. I'm pretty sure you guys would have assumed that anyway. But here it is. You know what I did? You want to know how creative I am? I took the emerald texture, pasted it, and turned it purple. I know, I'm a genius. The coloring is a little bit off, but don't worry, it's the exact same stone texture. This is just the way that entities render light, and it's an understandable oversight, which I get. But there is one thing that's kind of bugging me. You will be able to get these with Silk Touch, by the way, and Fortune will work on them, is that I can't place blocks on top of any of these machines. That's also another reason why they're too high. I can't express my frustration for this, but they're small armor stands, and I guess if I made this centered, then it would work, but you would assume that, wouldn't you? Well, let's just try and find out. So, we've got a small armor stand here. It's only taking up that portion of the block. Hey! I've never felt so wrong about something in my life. I need to change all this. This is entirely my fault. Wow. I bet you're all thinking now, oh, that means he can finally fix this issue here with the Tempest Crafter. I wish. Look what happens when I do that. So I'm just going to make this a dropper, and it goes dark! Why? There's a lot of... I'm a very demanding person, aren't I? Oh, wait, I'm just getting started. Let's take a look at the, should we look at the quarry? Nah, let's take a look at the new block here. Not you, shush, making all that noise. The collector. Guess what it does? It collects stuff. So, I'm going to drop this down. I am also going to give it a reasonable power source. This guy is super duper powerful in that it can collect blocks from an entire chunk within 20 blocks of it. So this piece of prismarine that you see down here, that's going to be collected by this collector machine. So let's just set the timer to 599. Boom! Alright, so that prismarine now is gone and it's in here now. This applies all the way up to the sky limit. Why did I do it this way? Well, to make it useful, of course, because of the quarry, which we are finally going to discuss. There are a lot of exciting things that I want to talk about. In fact, I'm going to need a moment to set everything up. Okay, so here's the plan. The quarries have a unique function in which they can actually detect the observers from, well, as high as you want. So having an observer up here will actually be detected. Let's just put a storage tank here, and then we'll put a collector on top. Now what I'm going to do now is, hey, I didn't say you could go yet. I haven't put in the amethyst. That's a bug I need to fix, obviously. So what I can do here is I can move this around like so, and it will move the quarry as it goes. Now this is, I don't know, should I say revolutionary in a sense? And yes, we can still use the quartz to control it. If I put a quartz here, here, and here, it won't move down, it will only move sideways. So I'm going to do it for these ones, and let's just speed up time here. Wait, before I do that, I've changed my mind about something, but it's a bit late for that. I was going to put hoppers underneath all of this. I mean, I guess I still could. So I will have maybe a chest here, and then funnel everything through like that. So quarries are very, very customizable now in that you can set them up however you please, which take it as you will, but I think it's a pretty powerful addition. So now it's time to put the amethyst inside, and we'll see how we go. And by the way, if you're wondering, oh, but that means we have to move this machine down so it's within 20 blocks. I've made an exception for the quarry. If this machine is all the way up here and this machine was all the way down there, they'd still communicate with each other so long as they're in the same chunk. Well, in the same 20 block region. Let's set the timer to 599, and we can see the magic happening now. That was a beautiful animation, and as you can see it's all connecting now. Absolutely wonderful. And the quarry did not move down because of the quartz rule. It's moving to the side instead. Let's just activate this a few more times. Now, since there's no quartz on here, it has decided to go down. And you can get some pretty cool patterns with all of this. So let's just activate this a couple of times. Obviously, the particles are super exaggerated because I'm activating this way more than I should. This is 30 seconds of progress. Now, I'm thinking about making this 10 seconds because the quarries do seem to be a little bit slow. And look at this amazing pattern which we've created just out of this. Instant mine, pretty good. So we'll just activate this a few more times. Yes, it's laggy because I'm activating this way more than I should. 30 seconds though is more reasonable. Look, it's just spitting out this absolutely everywhere because it cannot contain how much green hardened clay it's getting from here. But you get the idea. And the cool thing about this is if you break the quarry, you actually get it back. Used to be that you can only get your diamond pickaxe back, and then quarries will be super expensive. And then once people make one quarry, it's super easy to make lots of other quarries. I don't know really where I'm going with this, but the point is they require power now, so I thought I would give you guys the power of having all this. So there's your collector, and it should all funnel down into here now, except all the hoppers are a little bit too full for that. But you get the idea. We're out of Tempite already. That's probably why the quarry wasn't doing anything at the end of that. Oh, but I liked the older quarries better. I don't want those fancy shapes. We'll just do this. So if you have the quarry like this, it can only go downwards because there's no observers. The collector will just work like a basic collector, and you need the power source here. So I'm going to surround this with hoppers, just like you did with the original version. And then I will force it to move. And voila, it works exactly the same as the original quarry at the exact same speed, except it just costs a little bit of Tempite, if that's okay. But don't worry, there is a very, very good reason why I've done this, and that's to give the player reasons to actually go mining. Unfortunately, I've been watching a lot of Let's Plays, and everyone gets super, super rich in the Tempest box, and it starts to get boring. Like, what do I do next? I have no purpose. I have everything now. What do I need? Well, I'm giving you a reason now to find stuff. I'm planning on having way more ways of obtaining Tempite rather than just using amethysts all the time, because amethyst ore will eventually become scarce and you'll have to go mining all the time, and we all know how much of a bore that is. Though in version 0.8 I plan to fix that. All this stuff is for version 0.7, which is going to be the next update, but first I need to also redo how the creatures work. There won't be any dramatic changes with that, but the systems itself will be different just to reduce lag and to allow me to actually add more than just 16 creatures in a more mature and cleaner way. So to obtain Tempite, I plan on adding a machine which uses the sunlight to create Tempite tubes, which can go into here and just store the Tempite. And I'm having a ritual table, which you have to kill an angry zombie on it, and you get some Tempite, which you can then put in here, or maybe even something which just turns your diamonds into Tempite, or something simple like that. Something to get people to do stuff, something to get people to spend, something to get people to be more ambitious in the Tempest's box and have more to do, especially in the mid-game. Now, unfortunately, I am having an absolute nightmare with these 4 machines, so I'm going to cut the episode here, and I will be back once I actually deal with these things. Oh, my microphone. But I did want to say one thing, and that's all these machines can be ascended into more powerful versions of themselves, which basically means that they will be able to see observers from really high up. They'll cost a little bit more fuel to use, but overall they will be more efficient. Like the Metal Alchemist will have a higher chance of giving you more stuff. Not really sure. Oh yeah, that's right. The Block Transformer will be able to transform ores. The Growth Aura will be able to work over a larger radius, just things like that. But anyways guys, thank you all very much for watching, and a warm thank you to my patrons. Peter, Dark, Mr. Demon N, Armin Unstoppable, Zach, Patrick, Crazy Pets 321, Dedicated, Poco to Doge, The Dusty Bunny, Corp, and Mablaw. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one.